Rama asked, if all this is the one infinite peace, what is the meaning of the words teacher and student, and how does this duality arise? The words teacher and student are a little bit anemic and don't fully convey the import of Ram's question. Teacher here is the spiritual teacher, the guru, and student would be the disciple or chela. And presupposes that there's something called enlightenment and something called ignorance. The guru leads the disciple or directs the disciple from ignorance towards enlightenment, from darkness towards light. So the question is really asking, how can there be ignorance in the infinite Brahman, which is pure consciousness? Vasistha replied, the teacher and the student are all Brahman existing in Brahman. To the enlightened there is neither bondage nor liberation. Bondage and liberation are simply two cognitive categories, and liberation has got nothing to do with cognitive categorizations. Ram asked, if the diversity of time, space, matter, energy, and all the rest of it do not exist, then how has the concept of the oneness of this diversity come into being? So Ram is asking here about the concept of the oneness. Oneness as a concept. And it is a peculiar thing. We automatically pursue oneness, whether on a political level, a social level, or a scientific level. Why are the scientists pursuing their grand unified field theory? They want to sum everything up in the simplest possible terms. And as far as the physicists are concerned, this has to be an equation of some sort, mathematics. So the physicists in their own way pursue oneness. We have this natural tendency for it, don't we? It's quite curious. I don't know if it's been properly acknowledged. We've got globalisation. For some reason, a lot of people are against this. We find this concept of globalisation quite oppressive. But then the same people will be quite keen to promote the idea that we are one world. One world. This is what the astronauts photographed when they went up into space. They photographed our blue planet, and there it was, hanging in the darkness of space. So this was a new vision of oneness. And in terms of ecology and the environment, and in terms of some people's spiritual understanding, oneness is understood as interdependence. So this oneness is a concept, and it seems to me that the answer to Ram's question is actually in the question itself. It's because of the fact that time, space, matter, energy, and all the rest of it are what give rise to notions of an external world. But there's also this concept of oneness, and this is what looks for patterns in things. This is our process of cognition. It seeks to impose structure and order. And then that structure and order is a sense of oneness. Diversity here is equated with chaos, and oneness with order. I suspect I've perhaps read more into that than the question entails, but it's a curious question. So let's get Vasistha's reply. Vasistha replied, the diversity of time, space, matter, energy, and experiencing exist only in non-existent ignorance. There is no concept independent of this. All notions arise from ignorance. All cognition is based on ignorance. Ignorance means not knowing the knowing. There's no concept independent of this, even concepts of oneness. Spiritual practice is realizing this. Rama asked, if the duality of teacher and student is false, then what is awakening or enlightenment? Vasistha replied, by awakening, awakening is attained, and the concept of awakening is clearly understood. Of course, all this is comprehensible only to people like you, not to us. A more accurate expression on spiritual practice is enlightenment practice. You actually have to touch enlightenment before you can practice enlightenment. Of course, it's a very dodgy thing to claim to be enlightened. Is it the ego that's speaking? This is the concern we have. To claim to be enlightened is quite a dodgy thing, really. And if you are enlightened, then you wouldn't make any such claim, would you? This is what Vasistha says. Talking in terms of awakening is talking in terms of a concept, and this is only for people that relate to concepts. If you don't relate to concepts, then it makes no sense to say something like, I am enlightened. But in order to practice enlightenment, you have to have some acknowledgement and appreciation of the nature of your own consciousness.